This does not taste like milk at all. Hello, it's me, Coco, and today I am milking everything inside, and I'm making 4 different kinds of plant milk. I've already started soaking my almonds for almond milk, cashews for cashew milk. I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare the oats for oat milk. I have cooked rice, and we've got some dried dates and maple syrup for the sweetener. Making your own plant milks at home is the best way to cut down on packaging, cut down on extra ingredients that you don't want in your plant milk, and cut down on your cost. We're gonna save a ton of money by making it at home. So if you wanna see how I make all of these plant milks and see how they compare to each other, keep watching this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Coco. I make videos about veganism, sustainability, and radical self-care. And if you're into that kind of stuff, hit that subscribe button so that you can stay updated with all of my cool content that I work very hard to put out into the internet sphere. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna start by preparing my oat milk. The oat milk is really special because it has a secret ingredient that helps break it down before we put it in the blender. This is gonna make it less slimy and more delicious and more like a certain kind of oat milk brand that is very popular at the grocery store. I'm gonna start by putting half a cup of oats in my jar to soak with a couple cups of water, and now it's ready for the secret ingredient. Can you guess what it is? If you guessed the enzyme amylase, you were right, ding, ding, ding. This I ordered online. It is a starch conversion aid, and this is what's gonna help break down the oats to make it less slimy, less starchy, and more drinkable and delicious. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this amylase in here. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Now, I have to admit, this is my first time making this, so I'm not 100% sure if it's gonna work out. I guess you're gonna have to stay tuned to see. That's gonna need to soak for about 15 minutes. So while that soaks, I'm gonna work on making the other plant milks. I'm gonna start with a favorite, which is almond milk. These almonds have been soaking for about 9 hours or so. They've puffed up to about twice their size, and there's a bunch of stuff just kind of floating around in there. So I'm gonna rinse them, add them to the blender with the water and other ingredients, and blend it up. In general, we are working with 4-to-1 ratios. So you would want 4 cups of water to 1 cup of almonds pre-soaked, I guess. Now, I don't know about you, but unsweetened almond milk sounds kind of gross to me. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar to kind of boost up the flavor up in here. I'm gonna do a 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a cheerful sprinkling of salt. All right, here goes.
2 very boring minutes later.
All right, now that it's done blending, I'm gonna strain it through my nut milk bag. I gotta say, I was looking for nut milk bags for a while, and some of them can be crazy expensive. So I saw some for up to $25. I got this one, I think from Whole Foods for just a couple dollars, maybe like $2.50 or something. There might be a good reason for that price difference, but for me today, it's gonna have to do. So this is what I'm gonna do. Let's just kind of place it in the bottle like that. Oh, that smells good. Wow. That smells way better than any almond milk that I bought at the store. It smells like a bakery. It's probably the vanilla though. Okay, so I have squeezed it all into my jar, and it has made about 4 cups of almond milk, and then I have about 1 cup of almond meal. All is not lost or wasted. I am gonna turn my extra stuff into some cookies or something, but for now the focus is on the plant milk, and I can't wait to give this a taste. Tastes good. I think I probably put a little bit too much vanilla in it. I wouldn't recommend a full teaspoon for this recipe, but wow. I mean, it's kind of weird, maybe kind of crazy to say, but it actually tastes like almonds, which I would have to say that a lot of the almond milk at the grocery store really doesn't, right? Like, doesn't it kind of taste kind of cardboardy and gross? This one, it's like rich and creamy. It has the creaminess of the almond. It's very nice. So that is almond milk done. Let's move on to the cashew milk. Similarly to the almond milk, I am going to drain and rinse my cashews, add them to the blender with the water and my little extras, and blend it up. Again, it's a 4-to-1 ratio, so 4 cups of water here and 1 cup of these soaked cashews. I'm gonna do just a little bit of salt and about 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup just to bring out the sweetness of the cashews. And this time I'm gonna forego the vanilla just so that I can really focus on the cashew flavor. I'm gonna blend on high for 1 to 2 minutes and see how this puppy turns out. Okay, supposedly the cashew milk will be so smoothly blended that I won't have to strain it. So I'm gonna test it right out of the blender. Cheers. I mean, it foamed up really well. It almost tastes like regular dairy milk if dairy milk wasn't disgusting. Do you know what I mean? It's really creamy. And yeah, I think this one didn't really need a strainer. It was really smooth. So I'm gonna pour that back into the jar. And that is cashew milk. Done. For my next milk, I am going to do rice milk. This is just some leftover jasmine rice from last night's dinner, and I'm gonna blend it up and turn it into some rice milk. 2 cups of water, and just like the others, a little bit of salt. And then for this one, I want to try a little bit of a different sweetener. This is 1.5 pitted dates. Probably should have soaked the dates ahead of time, but you know, whatever. And let's roll. All right, it seems pretty smooth to me. The recipe that I read said that straining is optional, but since I have the nut milk bag, I'm gonna try it and just kind of see what gets strained out. Okay, so it's a lot less, as you can see, than what came out of the almond, which is like, it's not super dry, but the almond is kind of Play-Doh-y. This is still kind of pretty squishy. But there's barely anything really in the nut milk bag. Now, as you can see, the rice milk is definitely a much different color than, say, the almond milk, and that's definitely because of the sweetener. This one had 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup in it, and this one had 1.5 large dates, so it kind of took on the color of the dates, but I'm excited to try it. Na zdrowie. This does not taste like milk at all. It's still really thick and creamy, and it tastes kind of like a comfort food. Like, it kind of reminds me of Korea, probably because of the rice. It's super yummy though. And the dates, you can't really taste that much. Like, I'm definitely getting rice, so yeah, pretty interesting. Last but not least, we will try our oat milk. You can kind of see, since we started soaking it, the oats are definitely nice and fluffy, and they're pretty broken down. I'd say more than if it was just oats and water. So I guess the amylase did its job. I'm gonna strain these, rinse them, and then add the other stuff and blend it up. I'm doing the half recipe again, so this is just 2 cups of cold water and my 1/2 cup of oats that are soaked with the amylase, strained and rinsed. Let's get a little bit of salt up in here. Let's go back to our good old right here. I don't know about you, but I love maple syrup. Probably my favorite vegan sweetener. Ready to rock? Ready to roll. With oat milk, you definitely want to blend it for a shorter period of time because think about it, as the blender goes, it's gonna heat up the oats and then it'll kind of turn into like, you know, oatmeal sort of, but just super, super liquidy. So, you know, kind of snotty, and the amylase is gonna help with that. But in general, you don't want to overmix it, but you do want to strain it. So here, oh shoot, here we go. Wow, I've made oat milk before, but without the amylase, and I can definitely tell the difference. It's a little bit goopy, but before when I made it, it was like straight up snotty. I think I'm just gonna quit straining it at that point because a lot of what's left inside is that starchy stickiness. So I'm just gonna put that in our little extras. Ooh, it smells good though, man. I really love oats way more than I love cashews. Like, cashews are great, especially when you make a cashew sauce, but like when it comes to the flavor, I've never been really a cashew person, but I always have loved oats, so I'm really excited to try this amylase enzyme oat milk. It's good. Is it oatly though? I think that with some more sweetener, it would probably be closer to Oatly, but maybe it's time to do a little blind taste test and see what a impartial third party thinks about these different plant milks without knowing what they're made from.
A few moments later.
I present to you the array of plant milks that I have made.
Ooh.
So I need you to taste test them and tell me which ones suck and which ones kick ass. Let me know if this experiment was successful.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna start with plant milk number 1.
Okay. It's good.
Can you tell what it's made from?
What are my options again?
You have to just guess.
Oh. I'm gonna set that down for a moment.
Okay, you're gonna come back to
I'm
it?
gonna come back to it.
All right. Now, plant milk number 2.
Alright. I think that's rice milk.
You think that's rice milk? All right. Plant milk number 3.
Interesting. I don't know, maybe that's rice milk.
All right. And finally, plant milk number 4.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so plant milk number 1 is my favorite.
Okay.
It's actually delicious. And it tastes like even like store-bought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's oat milk. This one's not bad. Number 3 is gross. This one's gross. I mean, like, you could use it in a smoothie or something,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't drink it on its own, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of thick, viscous. Just from the color, I would assume it's almond milk.
Mm.
Now that I thought it was rice by the taste, but I think it's almond now. I think this one is probably rice milk. I don't know, maybe that's cashew. It's hard to say.
I gotta tell you. Well, what do you think this one is?
I don't know.
I think you're 0 for 4 now.
Really?
Yeah. So this one, oat milk number 1 was almond milk.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
But this is the only one that I put vanilla in.
Ah,
But I thought it was like too much vanilla, so I didn't put vanilla in the other ones.
well that is hard. That's like that messes with the experiment.
But the flavor and the texture of this one is really nice.
It's delicious.
Yeah. Oat milk number 2 is the cashew milk.
Plant milk number 2.
Plant milk number 2 is the cashew milk.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's probably my second favorite.
Mm-hmm. Plant milk number 3 is the rice milk, but the reason why it's brown is because I sweetened this one with dates.
Ah,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you're right. It wasn't that good.
mm-mm.
It's drinkable, but...
It's thick.
And then plant milk number 4, this is the oat milk with the amylase.
Mm. it also has like a kind of a viscous, like a thick nature.
So I think the thing with the oat milk is you're not supposed to blend it for that long, and maybe I just blended it for too long. So I can, we can try it again, but I would say this experiment was very successful because I did not know it was this easy to make this good almond milk.
Honestly, probably some of the best almond milk I've had. I'm not a huge fan of almond milk in general.
Neither am I. It just doesn't it just taste like paper?
I don't know about paper, but it has a very distinct flavor that isn't great.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's light. Like this, I feel like could pass for oat milk.
For sure.
Oat milk being my favorite plant milk.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. All right. Well, that was really fun. Now we have all of this plant milk to drink before I go on to milking everything part 2, where I milk all this other stuff that I didn't milk today. Can you guess what I'm going to milk next? You're going to have to tune into the next video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and you're interested in plant milk, you want to try it for the first time, whatever, all of that stuff, leave a comment in the comment box below if you have any questions about these milks, and hit the like button if you think that drinking plant milk is better than drinking dairy milk. That's all for today, except for a little tidbit I want to leave for you at the very end. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Oh, and if you want the recipes for these plant milks, I'm going to leave them in the description box. But now, for the best part of the video. Barley! Which one will she like? Which one will she like? She went with the almond milk, but probably because it was the closest. Try these ones. Here. She likes it. Wow, you really like that stuff, huh, Barley? Oh my gosh. She drank the whole thing. Now are you gonna get, what about these ones, Barley? What about the other ones? Oh, she's going for the rice milk. Oh, no, maybe she's like, nah. Okay, go ahead, Barley, go ahead, drink. I guess Barley thinks the same thing that we thought, which was that the almond milk was definitely the most delicious, but she would rather lick the cashew milk droplets off of the floor than go back to that really not so good rice milk.